Hello, and welcome. This is episode 4 of the Synaptic Circle. I am your host, Heidi Pop, and I am thrilled to connect and synchronize synapses with some fellow like minds. And our goal is to share our human experience, our insight, build community, and find the others. So, before I introduce our common thread, I would love to introduce our guests. From down below here, we got thank you for coming and tuning in from Canada. We have Mr. Matthew Starseed. Hello, Matthew. How are you?
Hello, I'm really good, Heidi. That was an
Good.
awesome intro, by the way.
It's cute, isn't it?
I
Thank
liked
you,
it.
Mr. B, for that. Mr. B, Terry.
Yeah.
And thank you. And from across the pond, we have Mr. Craig Walker. Hello, Craig.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's good to see you. Good to meet you, Matthew.
You too, Craig.
Yeah, it's great to connect with people like yourselves. Great conversation ahead, I'm sure.
I'm so very excited. So our theme, I think it's apropos as I am losing my frequency. We will be I'm doing all right. We are going to be talking about the expression via music, and both Craig and Matthew they're knee deep in it, I feel. And I think they're the perfect fellas to talk about the healing modalities of music, the expression of it, their passion for it, and all of the above. So I think just to get going, maybe Matthew, can we start with you and you can share just a little bit of your journey of music and how it came to be, kind of.
Sure, yeah. I've loved music my whole life, and it's been, such an important thing for me. You know, I can't even remember the first time I listened to it, but I just know even just through high school and through like, I loved it. I would listen to it all the time, and it always just, just made me feel good and inspired me. And, even when I was really young, I always like pictured myself performing. But not till like 2010, I went to a festival called Shambhala, and I watched two artists, a group called Sweatshop Union, and then another artist named Emotions perform at that festival. And they were rapping about like real life problems and like ancient history, UFOs, and like secret societies and stuff. And I was like just blown away that they were, making it really, like they were making really good music about stuff that I really cared about. And I'd never heard or seen that before. And it made me believe that, there was something so much more to hip hop and lyrics, because the most of the stuff that I had heard till that point was, I guess you could say, just the regular mainstream stuff. And I still loved it. It still inspired me. It still gave me, juice for when I'd be working out or I'd be driving or something like that. But once I seen that, it really changed everything for me. And I started writing poetry. And I think in 2015, 2014, that's when I actually started writing lyrics and on beats and stuff. And it was really hard and, to work through the process of it, but I loved it and I kept going, and it really helped me find direction in a very dark period of my life when I was really struggling with addictions. And I'm going to go from here. It kind of really shifted in 2015 and 16. That's when I really wanted to make it like professional, because I just seen these guys performing live. I kept going to that festival, not like every year, but every now and again. And I would see these people performing this kind of music, and they would be getting paid to do it. And I could just see how happy they were. And I was like, man, I really want to make this my dream. And in 2016, I actually reached out to a DJ called Freddie J, and he got me a performance at Shambhala. So it was crazy because that's where it all started for me, and it was nuts. And this is like, currently one of the biggest North American festivals right now. And it was crazy because it was actually like my first live performance, and I was performing with my partner in rhyme, Inspire. I live with him right now. And it was crazy, and it went really well. We crushed it. And then we performed the next year after that. And everything was evolving, and I was actually getting a lot more festivals, a lot more nightlife events. And then in 2019, COVID hit, and boom, it
And then that
really
happened.
didn't. I kind of died out of from there. But
Aw.
currently right now, man, it's my number one goal is to do it professionally, and I'm working with Emotions, the guy who inspired me from the or one of the guys that inspired me from the very beginning. And yeah, things are going good. So it's a little
Yay.
intro there. Yeah,
Awesome. I love it. Thank you.
yeah,
And how about you, Mr. Walker?
Wow. Brilliant story there, Matthew. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so for me, again, I come from a very musical family. To those that don't know, I play drums in a band called Nth Ascension, and my dad plays guitar, and my brother plays bass guitar in it. We are like a rock band. So I've grown up music just all the time. There was never a quiet day in our house. There was always music playing. Bowie, Pink Floyd, Zeppelin. All the classic stuff. So I was raised. That was my sort of musical appetite when I was younger. Um, First band I ever really got into myself was Queen. I was
nice.
about 8, 9 years old. Big Queen fan when I was younger.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then obviously, I started discovering things for myself. So I actually went down more the heavy metal route.
sweet.
So Metallica, I can't think of any more. I always think Metallica, but that genre, certainly in my younger days, and I still love that stuff. But for me, music has it's always been I joke about it, but it's true. I didn't choose to play the drums. The drums chose me because
Nice.
I was about, what had I been? I was only a toddler, and Queen "We Will Rock You" was on the telly, and I was playing it in a perfect rhythm. You know, "We Will Rock You," the dun dun ch, dun. And for a little child to be able to do that in rhythm, my dad spotted it straight away. He tells me, and he's like, "This kid's going to be a drummer." So, long story short, they got me a drum kit, and it was so natural. It was just so
Mm.
easy to me to do it. And again, I don't. That's not me bragging, and I haven't worked hard for it. Although I do practice now, I have worked at my craft. Um, it just came effortless to me. I was born with this ability to play. So I've always pursued the drums, and I love it, and the energy you can create with a rhythm, and it really stimulates me. So, like I say, when I went down sort of the heavy metal route in my younger days, it was more the thrash type, fast energy drumming,
Yeah,
and then I got older. I got married when I was 22 years old, and had children when I was 23. I had my first daughter. I already had a stepson that my wife had from a previous relationship. So kids came around, and I kind of calmed down a little bit. And yeah, so I sort of thought I need more. That's more something musical out there. And I started looking into sort of more kind of progressive type stuff. And a big band for me was Dream Theater. I don't know if anybody's heard of
sweet.
them.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, big
Amazing.
band because they sort of bridged the heavy stuff with the more melodic stuff. And anyway, I then went down a more melodic route, and that's kind of where I am today. I still love the heavy stuff, but music's always been very, very important in my life, and having the ability to do it and the passion to do it, like yourself, Matthew, it's kind of like you know a mission from the stars, shall we say, that we must follow our passions and pursue that.
Yeah,
Um, because if I wasn't doing music, I'd be like, I don't know what I'd be doing. um,
Aw.
so it is a real passion, and the truth be told, it's hard in this day and age to make a career out of it, like Matthew was saying,
yeah,
because it's a very, very controlled industry. And we can get onto this as we move on, but yeah, I mean, it's not easy if you unless you're into certain agendas, But what I can see happening is things are going a lot more grassroots.
yeah,
A lot more
Yeah.
younger bands rising up, and people doing smaller venues. So yeah, there's a big shift happening. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
my sort of musical history.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I love. Yeah, like you're saying, like self-promotion. People can push themselves a little bit more now, which
yeah,
is really brilliant. What about too, Craig? I wanted to bring up because you have the page. I don't know. I don't think you've been doing active on there. your frequency page.
Mhm.
But that's kind of when I found your music, and then I'm like, oh, and Andy drums and nth ascension and everything. But you have a channel of frequency music that I've shared with my own children because it's so
Wow.
powerful. Do
Wow.
you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I'm all about that healing frequency.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So basically, like Matthew was saying, over COVID, everything shut down. It didn't know what to do with my time. I just felt like I wanted to explore sort of more ethereal sounds, frequencies, because we were sort of in this kind of disclosure spiritual community. We were learning a lot about frequencies, the power of frequencies in healing. You know, and talking about our chakras and how each one resonates at a certain frequency. And you can actually target those with sound and actually in some you can bless them, you can heal your energy centers and bring them into alignment using these frequencies. So being into music, I was like, this is really fascinating stuff. So I studied it a little bit, and quite frankly, I started just messing around with sounds and creating soundscapes as a passion project, again, just for my own for use, really.
Yeah.
My wife was sort of like, you should put these on YouTube, or or something. I was like, oh,
Oh,
go on then. So I did a few videos over COVID, and then I kind of forgot. When things opened up again, I kind of forgot about it. Next thing, I get a notification: your video's got over 10,000 views. I was like, okay,
Whoa.
I
That's
forgot about
awesome.
it. So then I kind of thought, oh, I'll pick this up again. So yeah, what I like to do is, for me, in my own sort of, it's my own gratification, really, because I love what I don't know if you know who Rick Rubin is. He's a really top producer in the
Oh
music.
yeah.
And I totally agree with him. He says, when you write music, write for yourself, write for things that you enjoy, that you like. That is so crucial, because what I believe is we are the instrument, we are the music. Our spiritual energy is the music. We use these tools, whatever it is, whether it be words or beats or rhythms or frequencies. That's the vehicle that we express ourselves through. And
yes.
so
That
I just
and
do things that just stimulate me, really. So if I
yeah.
say something,
No, that's brilliant. That's a great segue with you, Matthew, too,
Mm,
because you went knee deep right in disclosure and truthing, and then sure enough, you started putting your lyrics to that, and then
mm.
Yeah.
super hit. How's that been for you? Is that going to be your focus now as an artist? Are you going to focus on truth telling and red pilling through your music?
Yeah, definitely. It's a big focus of mine. And I love it so much because it's who I am. I'm a Starseed and played in Starseed, and I love it, and it inspires me, and I just feel so connected to that type of information being released. But as a professional, like, it's really, and what I've noticed throughout hip hop artists who do red pill rap, um it's tough to find a really well paying market with it. And so, like, obviously it's going to be a huge focus of mine, but at the same time I am going to be focusing on music about addictions, overcoming that stuff, just about loving family and friends, about going to festivals, and just regular life stuff, but still with, the hint of who I am and the Starseed vibes and stuff. Which is why I'm working with, or which is why I started doing an artist development program to be able to, market myself and create everything in a way so I can do this as a profession and not just focus, I would say, just on the disclosure or just on, Starseed stuff. But I still am going to always keep the name Starseed. I am changing my logo right now to kind of not just kind of narrow me down just as, like, I guess, Starseed,
Right.
but I love it, man. I've always been into disclosure ever since I was really young, when Carrie Cassidy started first putting out her stuff. What's her thing called again? I can't remember for some reason.
Project Camelot.
Yeah, Project Camelot. Wow, it's I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, I watched like tons of those interviews when I was really young, and which is why it was kind of crazy when I first seen those artists rapping about what kind of the people that she was interviewing. I was like, wow, and like these guys are getting paid to do this at these festivals. But the thing is, these guys weren't just primarily doing it about that. They were still rapping about, you know, what it was like to, you know, have a girlfriend and, you know, and just the regular stuff. But
Throw it all in there. Well,
yeah,
that's a big you said you had performed at the festivals, but I mean, that's a big wink wink to all my conference goers and builders out there. You guys need some musical acts, I'm telling you.
yeah,
Having been an attendee, it would be so great to have like an evening with Matthew Starseed or let's take a break now, everyone. We're gonna have a musical interlude. So
yeah.
bring it. I'd love to see you hop around those.
And me too. That's actually, you know, that's like, you know, as much as I, you know, want to make, see, the thing is, like, in Canada, there really isn't any conferences, you know, like, and, but there's all these festivals, and like, I have so many friends who are not just like performing at them, they're organizing them, they're building the stages, so there's so much for me, to go in that direction. But at the same time, I do want to, you know, make a career performing at conferences. And I really feel that if conferences and festivals merged, and it would be like, you know, speaking, but also music, vending, and everything all in one, I think it would be, I don't know. I think it would just be something really, really unique and special that I don't think has
Yeah.
really been tapped into yet. And what am I gonna say here? Like it's almost like, you know, when you all the mute or like all the speakers speak, you get all that information. It's so transformational, and then the music after is almost like the celebrating of all that information, and, you know,
Yes.
connectivity. And I feel it really does kind of like integrate it a bit more. But hey, I haven't really been to any conferences, so I can't really say. But I just have this feeling that's what it would be like.
That's beautiful, and spoken word, you take
Yes.
Mm.
in all this knowledge all day. Some
Yeah.
might wanna just get up there and just riff it out or let it come through.
Rip it out.
It's
Yeah.
it's like your star knowledge. This is what's coming through. It's beautiful. Oh, I love it. I mean, not to do a super hard pivot, but I do wanna kind of focus probably because my voice is straining, but let's
Yeah.
not to sound frequency is the future of healing and wellness. Absolutely, Professor Bauer. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
And I think that's where do you think we're headed with that? Do you think that will be the common theme? Is this the med bed? Is this where we're going, you guys? What do you think the future of music and healing is? Or I guess what I should say is what I was telling you right before we hit record. My father, when he was in the hospital, I was playing him certain frequencies. Me going through the birthing progress, I had certain frequencies at the school as educator. I have certain tones I do to bring the kids back to a certain energy field.
Yeah.
What if we hit that in a humanity, like in a mass scale? I mean, that's like
Well,
good.
from my point of view, I don't know if you remember a while ago. Was it Lolla? Oh, I can't remember where Travis Scott was playing, and there was clearly some dodgy stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah,
If they can do that in the negative, just think what we can do for the positive.
yeah,
um, we can. I think I can foresee the whole industry shifting from this place that is controlled by the dark and bringing it into the light, where
Yeah.
we actually, well, like a festival can be like a healing center, because the power
Yeah.
of sound frequency. If you think about the scale of these sound systems and the hertz that are pumping through those
Yeah.
sound systems, it literally vibrates through your whole body. If you've ever been to
Yeah.
a concert, the bass just gets right down into the lower energy centers. The high guitar solos get right into the higher energy centers. If we can tune our instruments and tune the musician's frequency into that place of healing, I'm telling you, people will have radical encounters and experiences. Just going to a concert, I can absolutely
yes,
see that. Absolutely see
yeah,
it.
totally, and sober too. You
That as
can do
Yeah.
well.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, it's you know, as much as it's a struggle for me at the festivals because of all the drug use and stuff. Because like, I don't know if you've been to like because when I say festivals, it's mainly electronic music festivals,
Mhm.
and you know, the drug use is really crazy. But I'll tell you, when these musicians are playing and everyone's all connected as one, and I don't know whether people realize that or not, but when you're sober and you're looking at it, or even meditating during one of these sets and performances, you can feel it. It's unbelievable. And I know a number of times when I've meditated, I felt so many different types of beings, like all around. Obviously, there's good and negative ones, but it's crazy the types of. It's like it's paradigm shifting. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so amazing. And that's another reason why I really wanted to get into it too, is because of looking at a lot of mainstream rap. It's so demonic, and it's so um service to self, and if they can use that to do that to people, it's like we can use it for the opposite thing, Craig. And just like you said, Craig, I really resonate with that big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this comment here about that's what's happening in the churches. This is making me think of my mom's question, Craig, but maybe both of you can answer it. Hi, Mom. I know you're going to watch this later. She heard Craig was on, and she knows she's a fan.
Yeah.
Any knowledge of the Jesuits stopping the Gregorian chants? Isn't that what we're talking about? How the frequency shift? But
Yeah.
that specific question, she wanted me to see if anyone had knowledge on.
I don't even know
Or-
what that's all about, actually.
Gregorian chants, yeah. So I mean, particularly over here in the UK, we have many sort of ancient monasteries, that sort of thing. And I mean, I know that these ancient sort of monasteries were designed in such a way, using sacred geometry so that they were resonant. And they would. I mean, if you've ever been into a kind of like one of these old church halls, I mean, I was in one in Spain last summer,
Yeah.
and I remember just whistling, and it just echoed this vibration just went round. I was like, this is amazing. Can you
Yeah.
imagine the choir of people in there who are all singing at different frequencies? I mean, wow, really powerful stuff. And I absolutely agree. I mean, I don't have any knowledge of the Jesuits per se stopping that, but it absolutely wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have been going on about Tartaria recently and sort of ancient archaeology, and they were just like, "There's no way that this was done with horse and cart," and they obviously had some form of technology to create these outrageously spectacular buildings. I mean, a lot of them are ruins now over here in the UK, but they're sort of preserved as ruins by
Yeah.
national heritage.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you ever, I mean, Gregorian chants. In fact, Matthew, if you could incorporate Gregorian chants in your music, that would be outrageously good.
Ooh,
Just Google it, and
dig
you'll know what it is. It's like these sort of, if you imagine a choir of monks all singing, sort of like
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll tell you who
in a
used
tone,
a lot.
like
Yeah,
yeah, like scalar toning, like Matthew.
that's exactly right, and they knew what they were doing. And
Yeah.
Enigma, you know the band Enigma, who did Return to Innocence?
I think
They
I
used
do.
Ooh,
Yeah.
a lot.
that's all my dancing.
Yeah,
Love it.
back in the 90s, they really made that stuff popular because the guy from Enigma, he was a Romanian guy. I can't remember his name. He was into all this stuff, a very, very spiritual guy, and he was incorporating frequencies in his music, and really interesting. In fact, I'd like to speak to him actually, see what he knows.
Yeah, good
But
call.
yeah, I mean, if you could get hold of some of that sort of stuff and loop it, that'd be awesome, Matthew. That'd be
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely like to when I do my sets, I definitely if it's the right crowd and the right vibe, I definitely will, before I perform, I'll get everyone to ohm with me.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
That because what
Yes.
you're doing there is you're creating like a portal almost, getting everyone in the same vibration. I love that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that's how I start my circle time in the mornings with the kids? Matthew, I still see you in the chat. It's all you. I bring you in there. We do
Yeah.
breath work, and then
Yes.
I have them pick a vowel, A-E-I-O-U. We usually do that one. And then we'll just breathe in, and then we'll just go, oh, and just get on this. And I tell you, all
Nice.
those kids who start the day, they're like this. By the end, they're like, it's not like I hypnotize them, but they get balanced.
They're
They're just like,
centered. They're centered. Absolutely. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
cool, and even we have to do that in the middle of the day. It's
Yeah.
like it's either I have a dance break, it's like, "Okay, get your wiggles out, let's dance,"
Mhm,
and I start
mhm.
doing my drum and stuff, or it's like, "Okay, let's breathe again and get back into that frequency."
Wow.
It can
Wow.
really,
So good.
line up the kiddos.
I love that. That you sound like a really awesome mom. That's really cool.
I'm having a lot
Absolutely.
of fun. I'm a teacher too now, so I get to do these with Starseeds. I have a class full of 8, 9-year-olds,
Oh
and
wow.
it's at a New Earth Learning Center,
Yeah.
and I'm the class that's outside. So our feet are in the earth. You know,
Nice.
I
Where
have
was this when
crystals.
I was younger?
Yeah, I was just
I
gonna
know, right?
say that.
I'm trying to, well, that's the thing. And now I've normalized it for these kids. So now when they become adults and if they get lucky to become parents, that's what they'll settle for their, that's what
Right,
they'll choose for their
absolutely.
children. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to be the solution, man, trying to get out there.
it's
But the
amazing. That's so
crystals,
That
the
good.
is amazing.
tuning, we
Yeah.
have different instruments that do different tones and
Mhm.
yeah, all that
Yeah.
stuff. And plus we're outside. So that frequency alone of being outside in nature has its
Mhm.
own. We had to sit during a rainstorm. We're under tarps and things, and we just sat and listened to
Oh, man,
the
that's
music of the
awesome.
rain, you know?
Wow,
It's
that's
cool.
proper learning. That's amazing.
It's
You're
pretty
not teaching them
cool.
algebra then, that they'll never use.
Pardon?
You're not
It's
teaching algebra then that they'll never
oh,
use.
well, I know, right? It's fun. We do the basics, but we do it
Yeah,
through practical skills. We're just like
right.
built a TP, built this,
So good.
measured,
Yeah.
cooking. Um, but with what that's funny. I was talking to talk about education. So with our learning center, both my children go there as well. We go up to 8th grade, and it's required after 3rd grade and up that they do a strings instrument, and they choose between violin, cello, and then when they're older, guitar. But they say, Bauer, I don't know. Oh, you are here. Um, Professor Bauer and I have talked about this, about the importance of learning notes, like reading music, sheet music, but
Yeah.
also the string instrument and the tones of that go on. What do you think? Do you think that should be required in all education systems? Or how do you think music should be incorporated into education? It's very
Hmm.
random or
Good question.
broad.
Mm.
Man, I'd like to like meditate on that one a little bit, but I know
Oh,
it's
yeah.
changed everything for me. And it, like, when I was in high school and elementary school, I was basically told I had a problem, I was stupid, and the whole works, man. I was put on ADHD because I was just going nuts, right? And the only thing that really helped me like sit still and bear through this shit was music. I always, I would put my hood up and I would have my headphone in, right, so they couldn't see me,
Right.
because if I had it in, they'd be like, take it out, you're not paying attention. But I would actually be able to pay attention so much more because I had, even like rapping or like metal in my ear, I could still pay attention better to the teacher, or through social studies or something. It was like my only saving grace is what got me through.
Wow.
Oh, bless your heart. Well, that makes sense now because my daughter prefers music when she's doing her work. And
Yeah.
and the way she's producing the work, I don't stop her because I'm like, well, you're doing the work.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man. How about you? Because you're a father too, Craig.
Yeah,
What's your
indeed.
take?
Well, I was just thinking actually, because I wasn't, I didn't like school. I could have done it. I could have been better than I did, but it was boring to me. I wasn't
Yeah.
interested. And funnily enough, I'm going through it with my youngest daughter now. She's 11. She's called Meadow, and she's in a final year of primary school. She just hates it. She's just like, I don't want to go, because what she's found is she's found a passion in ponies. We loan a pony for her, and she's absolutely brilliant. Riding them and looking after them, feeding them, and that's her passion. She should be learning agriculture,
Yeah.
but they don't teach that in the school, so it's not
Yeah.
an extracurricular thing. And I'm just like, you know what? If she could go to school a couple of days a week and learn the basics, like you say, like basic arithmetic and English and spelling and that sort of thing, and the rest of her time should be learning about her passion.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yep.
and it's that if there's anything I tell my kids, it's follow your passion, no matter what it is, because eventually you will be able to monetize that. You will be able to you just follow your heart, follow what floats your boat.
Yes.
Because I think what the education system does is tells us, do what gets money, do what makes money,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're making money. And the amount of
For
people that
someone else, usually too.
precisely, Precisely. And the amount of people that are making money and are miserable because they're not following their own passions, they're following the money.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
that's just literally pretty much everything that's wrong with the world right now, you know?
Yeah.
People they are miserable, people are unhappy. Even though they're classed as successful, are they if they're not happy, you know?
Correct.
And I really admire people like yourself, Matthew, who are really pursuing that dream, and just going for it. And you know, with me, if I'm having kids so young, you know, I have to work, I have to make money, but I've got in a place now where I'm able to follow my passion. You know, I ascension, and I do these frequency videos, which I do them for my own sort of enjoyment, really, and just share them. But also, I've been asked to play for a band this year. I'm touring the UK with a band.
Nice.
Woohoo.
That's awesome.
I'm really
That,
excited about. It's fantastic.
yeah.
I've just been practicing with them this morning. So with our first show is in 3 weeks tonight.
Nice.
Exciting.
So, and it's just all, you know, we just gotta get in that resonance of dreams fulfilled. You know, in my experience, when people start,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
when people start waking up spiritually, I think one of the first things they're drawn to is the law of attraction, because it's just like,
Yeah.
I've got to get out of this situation I'm in. You know, I'm not happy. How do I get happy? You know, and a lot of people will then learn that their outer world is a reflection of their inner world, and how to heal your inner world so that your outer world will then follow suit.
Yeah.
Go on, Matthew.
You know what's crazy actually talking about all this. You know, I'm quite certain that, you know, the elites and, you know, whoever's working with them interdimensionally or whatever, I think, you know, they know very well that what enslaves us is our negative patterns, right? And,
Right.
you know, if we're pursuing our dreams, in the pursuit of our dreams, whether we're a little kid or 38 or however old, we overcome those negative patterns by intentionally going, this is what I want to do. And when you do that, the universe sets up all these things for you to overcome all the negative patterns. And when we overcome all the negative patterns, you know, we're not enslaved anymore, and we are in living at such a high frequency. At least for me and myself, like when I'm, you know, like now that I'm making these intentions and I'm doing all these things that I feel are right, I feel so amazing. Like, you know, even when things, you know, may have the turn of events, I can always find gratitude in the journey, and it's really helped liberate me. And I wish, you know, from a very young age that I would have had someone ask me, you know, what do you want to do?
I know.
And they were like, yeah, we're going to support you in any way that we can. Like, I honestly, I can't even imagine who I would be and where I would be right now if that was the reality that we live in. But that's why we're also here, is because it is the way it is. And so we've chosen to come back to earth, or come to earth to, you know, shine light on these dark situations. And you know, and I'm really praying more than anything through my music, it inspires people to find their passion and choose it, and know that they can make a living from it, and overcome all the negative patterns, you know, that enslave them, right?
Right.
Yes,
Exactly right, yeah.
absolutely. Like what you said too, you brought up before, the elites and all those things, and we could talk for days, and there's
Yeah.
countless podcasts about how they change the frequency purposely, how they're pumping it now through you know, they're messing with us. You go into West Hollywood, I'm in LA, you feel the frequency shift, and then
Right.
you see the mania, and I'm like, oh, I see what they did here. So either I live in that vibration of, oh no, they're coming to get me, or I'm like, shine that much brighter. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. So we can totally like fend it off and then teach others how to do that. That's why I want to teach the kids how to keep
Yes.
their frequency up here and find their gift, their star knowledge and their gift.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I love it.
beautiful. Yeah.
And music is a really powerful way to activate that as well.
Yeah.
You know, music, I mean, it's well known that, you know, it changes your mood. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you listen to a happy song, it will make you happy. If you listen to a melancholic song, you feel melancholic, and, you know, an angry song make you angry. That's the power of music. So if
Yes.
we're creating high vibrational music, and, you know, I said it off air before, that Matthew, if you can write words that are penetrating those walls that we set up, you know, and getting right into the heart of people.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, I mean, the music industry is so heavily infiltrated.
Oh yeah.
They know exactly what they're doing, and
Yeah.
they will get a certain rhythm, they will get a certain tune, and they will put a mantra of words over it that people, like young people, will start singing, and it will be extremely negative.
Yeah.
You know, for their the way their minds work in their subconscious mind, and so they're just thinking they're singing the song, but they're actually being programmed whilst they're doing it.
Yes.
So again, let's take this knowledge and let's like you say, Matthew, get mantras, get them singing mantras that lifts their vibration, makes them realize I'm here for a reason, I have a purpose, you know, and their connection to God and the stars and our connection with each other, you know, just enlighten the youth of today, because that's who the cabal are really targeting, is the youth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've got to take that back. We really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music industry is just like Hollywood, Neil says. Yes, it is Hollywood. They're all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Same entities, different. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we saw that one. My goodness. Well, I'm first of all, hello to the chat. Thank you so very much, folks, for tuning in there and chiming in. I appreciate it. If you do have any questions for the guests, please chime in. Oh yes, Michael is saying certain background music causes him to tune out, zone out, and others can affect your aura too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably intended to do so. Excuse me. You know what I was going to say? You know what was my go-to music for when I used to work on set, and I'd have these obscene early call times, and I'm up even earlier, way earlier than my call time, preparing for the day, and I'm driving into set, and I always had drum and bass on.
Nice. I
was like
love drum and bass.
I drove in, and then by the time I got into my van, I'd be like, Papa, like I'm here. And everyone's like, how do you do it? You drink espresso? And I'm like, no, it's the music.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Stuff. Can change all your moods there.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Bass metal. Oh, Viking metal throat singers. Nice. You know, that activates me as well. Something about those Vikings, man, I tell you. So male voices, Viking metal throat singers. Ooh, yeah, that's telling.
Yeah, funny enough, when you look, because I've looked into this as well, sort of like with, you hear that sort of growling heavy metal. People think, oh, that's violent and everything. But what they're doing is they're getting into those real lower chakra areas, you know, the root and the sacral areas where it's really deep and they're manifesting, you know, they're creating an energy and a frequency. And what I found is with a lot of sort of the metals genre, and people think it's demonic and everything, but when you actually listen to them, they're angry at the system, they're angry at the slavery, they're angry at the corruption, and they're like singing about it, saying, get out of this corruption, you know. And I think about bands like Sepultura, you know, they wrote a whole song called Propaganda, you know, and it was just all about the media, and it's just like, F you propaganda, you know what I mean? It's like, they're not our enemies, you know what I mean? They're not demonic, per se, you know, they're expressing themselves in a quite a powerful way, and I'm like, yeah, I resonate with that.
Yeah, it was the same with System of a Down too. A lot of their music was like, you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is so awesome and heavy, and then you like look at the lyrics and you're like, wow, like I had no idea they were saying that deep stuff, and then it really changes the whole experience, man. Like, you know, I always love doing that, looking at the lyrics, like finding the lyrics of what they're saying and following along. Like, you know, it's crazy. Like there's a lot of times where I find artists that I think are one direction, and then I find their lyrics and I listen to it, and it's a totally different story. Like they're actually on a different wavelength, and that's one thing I've really been blown away actually with a lot of hip hop stuff. It's because, you know, a lot of it can be like, you know, focused on like violence or like really derogatory stuff towards women, or like, you know, just like I'm the this and that. But then you like kind of like figure out who these artists are, where they grew up, and like their story and everything like that, and you realize that like these people have gone through like, you know, really crazy stuff, and like, and there's so much more in the music and in like who the artist is, you know. And I try my best not to, like, I guess, judge the cover book by the cover, but you know, it's It's crazy, man. There's just so much amazing music out there, and there's so much amazing music that we've never heard of because, you know, the mainstream isn't pushing it. And you know, like I couldn't believe it when I first heard Sweatshop Union, and like I think it was in 2001 when they released I think Natural Progression, and like the whole, like there's like not the whole album, but there's like 3 or 4 songs that are in it, and they're like straight up like talking about the elite and, you know, what's going on. And like in Canada, there was nothing like it. And even when I first heard it, I was like, this is awesome. I just loved it. I love the beats. I love the way the guys hit the pockets of the verses. And then I had this girl I was chatting with, and she was like, my friend, and she was like, man, yeah, I don't think you get like what these guys are really up to. And I was like, you don't know what you're talking about, whatever. Like I listen to their music all the time. And she's like, all right, whatever. And then it was later on, a few years later, I really started to be like, oh man, like that's, you know, when I started piecing together, like, you know, all the disclosure stuff and everything that was coming out in interviews and whistleblowers. And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe that these guys, you know, in such an early time were making this kind of music. And I would have never, you know, I think one of their songs made it on the radio, you know, so like, yeah, I doubt most people have not even heard of them. And if they did, they'd probably just be so blown away.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Mm-hmm.
why sort of what we've been going through over the past sort of 4 years, that's why it's so significant, because I think the gatekeepers who have created this, you know, these structures of control are being dealt with. And it's, you know, it's taking longer than we'd like, obviously.
Yeah.
I wish it was just all done overnight, but I mean, you're not going to remove a thousands of year cult overnight, are you?
Yeah.
But I think you know, that there is going to be a displacement, because in the industry, as you'll know, Matthew, those who get really to the top, you have to be a part of all sorts of stuff. You have to commit all kinds of things to give your devotion over to their agendas, and it's
Yeah.
all the dark occult stuff. And I
Hmm.
mean, satanic imagery that they don't even hide anymore.
Yeah.
You know, back in the sort of 70s and 80s, it was really taboo, and like Led Zeppelin were dabbling with this, that, and the other, and you know, Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, and to them it was a
Yeah.
gimmick. But nowadays, it's literal. You know, they are literally showing satanic imagery to our kids and our kids'
Yeah.
generation, because they know how the powerful music is and how it influences culture.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most infiltrated is the hip hop world, like you
Oh
say,
yeah.
Matthew.
Big
Yeah.
time.
You know, the
Yeah.
stuff that's coming out of that world. I'm like, you know, human blood in trainers, you know, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
all this
And
kind
how
of
they
stuff.
sign their contracts. Yeah.
Right,
Which is
Oh
exactly. And
yeah.
you know, I was listening to of all people, I don't know if you know the boy band called Boyzone. They were
I
very
don't think
popular.
so, no.
I don't know how popular they are over there. There's one of their guys called Shane Lynch. They're an Irish boy band back in the sort of 90s and 2000s. And he's come out just last year and said he's been in rooms where they've got the CDs out and they're doing um, like incantations over,
Yeah.
like there is a cultic incantation over the CDs that's going to go out to the people. They are
oof.
loading these things up with frequencies and demonic stuff so that when you play it, that's what comes into your house. And I'm like, this has got to change. We've really got to do
Yeah.
something about this. You know?
Absolutely.
Totally. Well, that makes me think of Michael's question here. How do we find music groups free of all this, basically? And I think
Mm,
this brings us back to social media too, and the power back in our own hands.
right.
Like you, Matthew, you're dropping your own stuff now. I mean, you're working with somebody, but you
Yeah.
literally were able to blast your communities and your reach and share. And that wasn't around before. So I think that's
Exactly. Yeah.
we can take this little weapon and use it, to our benefit. That's pretty positive. But that is powerful, Michael, because we need more labels and we need more people on board that subscribe to high vibe music and sovereignty. So maybe that
Great.
is something we can do.
You
Free of
know,
rituals.
a really cool thing, like even with like just Spotify, if you go on like say even my music, which is on Spotify, and you just click song radio, all these songs will populate and it's based off of, the beat, but it's also based off the lyrics as well too. And when you release your music, it asks you like, what kind of music is this? And so all this is taken into consideration by the AI, and you can actually find like tons of artists all over the world through this type of technology. And it's actually how I've been finding all sorts of new music to be inspired by. If anyone wants to know of some really awesome hip hop artists who are doing God's work, I know tons of different artists, and I'd love to share that stuff with them. If they want to just personally message me on Facebook, I'd love to share that. But they're using that type of stuff. I don't know if iTunes has it. I don't necessarily know if I think SoundCloud does. But if you use that, you can find lots of different music. And same with YouTube. Like if you click on like an artist, all these suggestions should come up. And a lot of times, like, it's as like evil YouTube technically is in a way, it actually really helps, and you can find a lot of really cool music.
Yeah. I think this is where we can actually use algorithms to our benefit.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I'm exactly the same, Matthew. That so if I have Apple Music, for example. I think so. If I just find a song on Apple Music that I want to listen to, and I leave it, then it will play songs of that genre, that ilk, just as like a radio station almost. And
Yeah,
amazing songs I've heard of bands I've never heard of. They're not popular, but they're on there, and they're linked to this band that I've searched for. I've picked up loads of good music that way, but I definitely see, as I mentioned before, we are going through this great takedown of the elite, this cabal, who very much own the music industry, and are doing very bad stuff at the very top levels. They're being taken down. We can't leave a vacuum, because then something worse might rise up.
yeah.
We need people who are willing to step into those positions, who have a heart for humanity, who have a heart for high vibe music, and getting messages out there that benefit humanity. I mean, just 30 years ago, the artistry was so good. Lyrics, and you listen to like Cardi B now and stuff like this, singing about her genitals, and I'm just like, what's happened? What has happened? And it's they're doing it on purpose. They're influencing the culture. That's what they're trying to do. And quite frankly, I've had enough of it. It really, really annoys me.
Oh man, me too.
So this is why now is the time to follow our passions, to get the ball rolling like we are, Matthew.
Yeah.
And so as this great takedown happens, we will just naturally go into that world and start bringing healing and high vibe music, that's going to raise the vibration of the planet and humanity.
Exactly.
100%.
Like Professor was saying, the rise of the independent content creators is only the beginning.
That.
It will improve and replace current crap. Yep. And
I agree.
And then honestly, circle back to education a little bit, and not to toot my own horn, but the educators that are teaching our children, or the parents or the guardians, whoever is teaching their children to decipher frequencies. Does this feel good? Does this not feel good? Do not tune it in. Don't bring it in. And and Professor also said our voice, bless my voice, was our first instrument.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's our first instrument. And being a mother, I remember being with my baby. They're not going to know if I'm reciting a poem to them, but they hear my tone.
Yes.
And they know my frequency. Your voice is everything. And if we can teach those children the appreciation of it, like how I was raised, and that your tone matters, and that they are the creators, the creator beings. We are going to shift the whole damn thing. That's the exciting bit.
And I think we're well underway, to be honest with you. I think that there's a grand transition going on, where the very fact that we're having this conversation is evidence of that. I think that I'm sure we're not the only people who are thinking along these lines. I think there's many people, enlightened people, who are having a realization of their mission, why they're here, and they're starting to step into that place now. And I don't think this is the most exciting time to be alive, literally.
I agree. Hey, I liked Barry Manilow for a minute, Neil.
What did he say about Barry? I missed that. What did he say?
They're teasing on Barry Manilow. No, it's Barry Manilow.
Couldn't
We don't need
Imagine
Barry
is a
Manilow.
great song. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. I actually went to a Barry Manilow concert in Chicago.
Really? Yeah.
Bunch of college kids. We all drove the bus down. Dressed. It was
Nice.
so funny. But it was all about the college thing at that time. We just want to have fun. Music is everything. Someone also has mentioned it. It's a unifier, brings the people
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Most
So there's the conferences and the festivals, and it's a way to gather, way to express,
Exactly.
and a way to gather. And then we can't forget about I was hoping Felicia would join me. The dancers out there with the appreciation of it. That's my old world too. And
Yeah.
you cannot stop channeling that music and moving it through your body. Oh, for
Mhm.
the love. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's very, very, very tribal. Those
Yeah.
like man, I love the festivals for that. It brings everyone together in such an amazing way. And yeah, I know the first time I went to a festival, it changed everything for me. Like, I mean, everything. I couldn't believe the type of planning and organizing, and like from the stage design to the people selling like crazy hats or feathered earrings or just these crazy necklaces, and then the food vendors, and just like how it all like worked. It was so amazing. And like I just couldn't believe that it existed, and I had never felt this or seen this before. And then I remember coming back to the city that I live in, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like, no one's telling each other that they can do anything like they were telling each other at the festival. Because at the festival, everyone's like, "Yo, you're so beautiful. Like you're so unique. Like, what do you love to do? Oh, do that. It's amazing." And then you come, to the city, and everyone's like, "I don't want to talk to you," or just like it's just so like separated. But at festivals, it's not like, regardless of the like, the drug use or not. It just is so encouraging to be yourself. And I just, that's why I still, even though I don't do drugs or anything, that's why I still go to them, because I see, like, my favorite thing is to run into someone who's never been to a festival. They'll be like 19 years old or something, and I just look at them and I'm like, how you feeling? And the look they give you, right? They're like, wow, like this is what is this, and you just kind of sit with them for a bit, like break it all down. You got to give them the rules, if they're going to be using drugs, just like take your time, or like enjoy these kind of things. Like, this artist did this, like those guys over there, they built that. Like, that just wasn't here. Like, it took them 3 years to build that stage, and they're like, and it gives them an idea of just like, the teamwork and just working together. Like, it's just so amazing, and I love it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
As you were talking, it just came into my head. Then I've said this before, but just what a spiritual experience kind of festivals and just
Or concerts. Yeah.
So when I first discovered the Band Dream Theatre, it
Yeah.
came to nearby, about half an hour away from home, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to go. One of the best concerts I've ever been to. But what was significant for me was at the end, they finished with this big epic medley of songs, and they've got this song called Octavarium, and it's a big guitar solo at the end, and it's this really building up, and at the end he just held this note like really high. I kid you not, I had a full-blown Kundalini experience when he was
What?
holding this note. Like, this energy just went whoosh when he was doing it, and I was like shaking. I was like, "What's going on?" So whatever that frequency was that he was holding in that powerful sound system, I was like, I needed that, and I came out a
Yeah.
person. And I'm thinking, we need to harness this knowledge and what I experienced there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad tells me he went to see David Bowie when he was a youth, and he had the same experience with a guitar solo and a song he played called Moon Age Daydream. I don't know if anybody knows it. It's a really sort of like big guitar solo, just holding these notes. And my dad says, I was just like shaking, like, what is this? I'm like, we need to harness this knowledge, this frequency vibration in a concert setting, and help people, heal
Yeah.
them and bring them kind of that encounter and that experience. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It reminds me of Baroque music, and so we were raised, and my mom would just introduce all these forms, and I really took to like Vivaldi and all these. But for my moods, I'm a very moody child, and I could get all my moods and emotions out. And cut to my brother, who was born decades later. He was a baby oops down the line, and he lived at home, and both my sister and I are grown and out of the house. But my parents were even more so like meditation and jazz. They introduced him verbatim to all these forms of music, but it was always they had a sound speaker that pumped all day long in the house. He's a musician now in a band. Like
Nice.
he picked up the drums, and he picked up the guitar, and then he did this and he did that. And he says socially he's not quite expressive, but he does it through his music, and that brings him back to one. And I think it's so it's so powerful. Yeah, I guess I wanted to even share about binaural beats. We didn't talk about that yet, right? That can kind of bring you all back to one. I mean, that's
Mhm.
another way of um, helping others. I'm throwing all the things out here last minute, I
Let's
guess.
do it.
Do you have a favorite? I mean, you hip hop, Matthew. Is that your like? What do you listen to when you chill out?
Oh man.
Is that another thing?
Like it's crazy because like I listen to like such an array of electronic music and hip hop, and I love classic rock. Like
Oh,
I love to like I don't even know how to like Tom Cochrane, Tom Petty, like a lot of those artists. They're so nostalgic to me, and they just I don't know, just make me feel so connected to my family. But I would say chilling out, like you know, frequency music, like 432 hertz, different types of meditation mixes on YouTube is my number one. And then I would say like my number two would be soundtracks from movies like Lord of the Rings or
oh
Braveheart,
yeah, powerful.
Gladiator. Some of those soundtracks are
Film scores are
they're
Yeah.
nuts, man. Like I'll be listening to it and like I'll watch Lord of the Rings again, even though I've seen it a million times.
Oh, I
Like
know what you mean.
I can't even like I like it is just and like it's funny because I never really pieced it together till a little while ago, just like how the music in these experiences, like even in the movie Dune that just came out, right? Like if that music wasn't in there, that show wouldn't be as dope. But the way they put that stuff in there, and so when I listened, I wouldn't necessarily say I listened to the Dune. I tried listening to it by
Mhm.
itself; it wasn't the same effect. But for like Lord of the Rings or like Braveheart or Gladiator, or I'm trying to think of like some other movies, but I would say just those ones, like they just I don't know, they're amazing to meditate to, like front to back, like they'll take you on a journey.
Oh, I love that. What about you,
Yeah.
Greg? I love
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of to chill out and stuff. Like Matthew says, frequency music. Obviously, I do write it. I mean, so those that don't know, I have a channel, Craig W. Essential Meditation, which is I think why I'm on here. See, for me, as I've got older, I don't care about genre anymore. What I'm looking for is how does the music affect me? How does it make me feel?
uh-huh.
Yeah.
So as I'm writing as an artist, I guess I've discovered that like an artist who paints with colours will put a slight bit of white in his yellow just to change it slightly, or different shades and colours and things. You do the
Yeah.
same with frequencies and tones. So, for example, like you could play on the keyboard a block A minor, okay, and that sounds nice. But if you make it an A minor seventh, it just changes it ever so slightly, and you feel it. You feel the change. You'll throw maybe A minor ninth, and just these little changes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I might be talking babble to some people.
No, it makes sense.
I love it.
You know that. So you have like a block chord, but then you can add different notes to it, and it just changes the feel. Even though it's the same chord, it changes the feel. And sometimes when someone's writing a chord and I can hear that they're feeling it too, because they'll just add these little notes in there, and it just makes you go, oh. Have you ever had even heard a chord change or a chord structure that just sends a tingle down your spine?
Yeah.
Yes, with the
Yeah,
cellos especially.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I
So
like, I
you
start
feel
weeping.
it. It's like, wow, what, it's like, for me, one of my favorite guitar players is Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd, because he
Oh
is
yeah.
Sweet.
so in tune with his emotions. And like I think you just said, Heidi, he's a real quite a quiet. Doesn't no, he doesn't talk much, but he expresses himself through his music. And
Mhm.
he does this one track. It's quite melancholic, but it's called Marooned by Pink Floyd. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of music I've ever heard. He's
Oh,
just really expressing himself on the guitar, and it just sends a chill down my spine.
that's
Um,
incredible.
that's what I'm looking for in music when I listen to it. How does it make me feel? Am I getting that experience? Am I feeling what the artist is feeling? Am I connecting with them?
Yeah.
So again, I'll listen to anything. I'll hip hop, pop. I'll listen to. There's some pop songs out there um, that I will listen to because
That are
there's a
fun.
chord change in it, and I wait for that moment. So yeah, I'll listen to anything basically.
It just sounds like mood depending, right?
Pretty much,
Mood
yeah.
depending. Or if I want to shift a mood, like if I'm having a mood and I'd rather be in a different mood, I'll put on
Yes.
that mood that I want, that music until I
Actually,
Yeah.
get there.
on that, what I found is if I'm like angry, if I'm something's made me angry, actually listening to metal is actually good and therapeutic because I either smash something up or I listen to heavy metal, so it's less destructive.
Get it
Nice.
out. Then you got to get it out. Yeah, there you
Exactly,
go.
it helps you process it. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Michael, we did kind of songs that were negative influence redone positive. Well, we there's so many we've talked the agendas, but yeah, I think that's our bit is how we can shift it all. And that's what we're here for is to be a solution and change the music industry as we know it because it will all collapse the old way.
It
Just
is.
wanted to answer Michael there really quick.
Mm.
Um I'm so grateful for this conversation. I mean, I want to share a little bit more about each of you, where people can find you, what's your next step. I know you're taking on a big career jump, Matthew, and I want to hear about your band, Craig, as well as are you going to pump out some more frequency music? Um, Matthew, what about you? What did this career what you're diving into next? Do you want to share with everybody and where they can find you? I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm on all platforms pretty much with my new EP. I am going to be redistributing it just because there was an incorrect thing with one of the artists that I wanted on there, so I have to like resubmit the whole album, but it doesn't take too long to do that apparently, so I'll be doing that sometime soon here. And yeah, I have my first performance on April 20th, 21st. I'm gonna be doing it's like I guess you call it like a rap battle, but it's not like I'm battling someone. It's like we're gonna be all performing for a prize. And then I have a number of festivals lined up throughout the summer. And the guy that I'm working with, Emotions, he's going to be just throwing me opportunities, and I'm just going to be hopping in my van, and I'm just going to go hit them up whenever they come. So
Awesome.
he's basically figuring out a bunch of different opportunities for me right now. And I'm also reaching out to a number of electron because I really like I would say like my biggest focus right now is to get on collaborations with other electronic music artists. So I'm rating all these songs on like drum and bass songs, house music, mid tempo, even just like hip hop stuff as well too. And so I'm creating as much music as I can. So when I reach out to these artists, and I'm not going to actually release the music. It's just basically it's when I reach out to them and they're like, wow, I really like that. I can just give them the vocal and then they can put it on their beat. So, and basically, so for next year, that's going to be when I'm going to be doing my big push into festivals, into like nightlife events and stuff like that. And I've got my fingers crossed. I'm praying I can get into some conferences in the States. So, but right now it's basically like doing all of the groundwork, creating merchandise, changing my logo, figuring out all the different ways to get grants. when you're a musician, like it can be very difficult to, like, for instance, like my EP costed me like, I would say like $4,000 with all buying all the beats, mixing, mastering, recording, um, album art, you know, everything that was involved with it. And you know, I didn't get any. It's like, it's not like about me making money, but I didn't get any of that money back, right? And so moving forward as a professional musician, it's like you have to figure out ways to you know, make money when you do these big projects. And the next projects I'm going to be doing are going to be a lot more expensive, but through grants and figuring out how ways to sell your music is really important to me right now, because I really want to make this shift. Like for instance, like I have friends that, you know, make really unreal music. They're all over all the platforms, but when it comes to streams, unless you're, you know, streaming millions of views, you're really not making any money off of it. So it's kind of still just like a weekend thing to do. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of like,
Okay.
I guess you could say that's where I'm at with me pushing forward as a professional musician.
It's incredible. So with
Mm.
that being said, we might not get another drop of your music on social media, will you? Are you going to hold all your cards closer till your big album
No,
launch?
no, definitely not. No, like I will be for sure. I would say probably around probably just before April, before I go to this, I'm gonna drop a few songs. Like I'm still gonna be releasing music, you know, gaining a following on social media and stuff, but it won't be like music released on Spotify or main platforms, because I have to own the songs and the rights to the songs. So these are just gonna be like fun projects to do just for sharing my music.
I love that. That's
Yeah,
perfect. That's amazing. And yes, again, to all the conference holders out there, there's your axe. Yeah, you got to get these musicians on board.
yeah.
How about
Thank
you,
you.
Craig? Yeah. And you said your new band. What's the new band? That's not End the Session is separate from what's touring.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So basically, I'm playing in two bands now at the moment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which isn't actually uncommon for a lot of musicians nowadays who have sort of numerous projects on, particularly when it comes to different ways
Yeah.
of collecting money. Like Matthew's saying, it's not easy.
No.
It's a very, very controlled industry. But yeah, so, well, first and foremost, yes, I do have my YouTube channel, Craig W. Ascension Meditation, which I will commit to more. Basically, I'm so busy with other things. It's time. That's the issue.
I got you. And
um,
I'll put all those links down there just so you know,
Yeah, of
people.
course, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's out there for you to listen to, and again, it's purely self-indulgent. I just write chords and create soundscapes that I enjoy and put it out there for anyone else that enjoys them as well. I'll put tones in there, you know, that target specific areas of the body, that sort of thing, and it's all in the descriptions if people want to have a look.
That's awesome.
Um, you know, I use them for meditation and that kind of thing. But yeah, so. Um, yeah, I've been in a. I just started the band in about 2010 called Nth Ascension. We've written 3 albums. We have Ascension of Kings, one called Infinite in Etium, and another one, our most recent one called Stranger Than Fiction, which is you can hear the progression in the production as we go along, as we're learning as we go along. But yeah, I mean, we have a song on there called Fire in the Sky, which I highly encourage people to listen to. Obviously, Fire
Ooh.
in the Sky, it was a popular UFO film.
Yeah.
Although that's not what it's about originally, but it certainly ties in with that. Um, so it's again with that's sort of like a progressive rock type group, which I enjoy. So it's some of it's quite long songs, some of it not so much, you know. But it's quite ethereal, some of it, and then there's heavy moments. So that's Nth Ascension. We play in 432 hertz as well.
Okay.
If on that. But yeah, but what it is, there's another band that's basically approached me and asked me to play drums for them. A band called Ten. They're well known from the '90s, sort of like what's classed as AOR, adult orientated rock. And we're basically touring the UK this year. If anybody in the UK is listening to this, come and see us. If you go on the Ten website, I think it's tenofficial.com. And go and see the dates there. But we're starting on March the 9th in Blackpool, which is my hometown at the Waterloo venue. And And again, I've just been practicing today. I don't know if you can see, I've got a blister on my thumb from drumming.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been practicing with the vibes really good with the guys. We're having lots of fun, and you know, just some really good sort of uplifting music there. Come and see us if you're in the UK. Who knows, we might get over to the States as well, but that'd be nice.
Yeah, I know that would be nice. Neil, you got to pop over there and see him. Matthew, quick question from Michael. Are you going to be doing podcast appearance on the road? Matthew, are you asking? I mean, Michael, are you asking Matthew?
Yeah, like I'd love to for sure, 100%. I'm down to do like podcast performances. Is that what? Sorry, is that what he was asking? If I was going to perform on podcasts, or if I was just going to be doing podcasts while on the road?
Yeah, clarify that for us, Michael. Which one did you mean there? And Craig, I apologize. Here's one of the links, but I'm going to put it in the actual stream description. So
Yeah,
as soon as we stop airing, I realize I'm trying to do it on my phone, and then I'm being rude, looking down, and I'll just do it when we're done.
Yeah, I'll send you the links and stuff for my music as well too, Heidi.
Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Very much so. And he meant both. So
And both. Yeah, like
job.
well, for sure. Like if I can, yeah, you know, I've never done a performance like live on a podcast. I don't know how it would translate. Like if you could hear me properly, like, but I'd be into it. I'd definitely give it a shot. And I definitely would love to do more podcasts, especially as I create more music and be able to, you know, share that music with people and give updates on what's going on with me and stuff. So,
Okay, beautiful. Actually, Michael has the same question for you, Craig. Are you going to share more maybe of the bands that you're doing? Because I know on Facebook I've seen you have Ascension on there. But are you going to share more online? I should say.
Yeah, well, so where I'm at with 10 is we've just been sort of practicing in, not secret, but you know, like just getting ready for the shows. So as we do the shows, there'll be lots of stuff. If people want to, I mean, I'm on social media, you know, search for Craig Martin Walker. I'm out there on Facebook, and just I'll be sharing, you know, I'm sure there'll be footage of the gigs and that sort of stuff. So I will be sharing that. But I forgot to mention actually as well. I actually just promote the shows I do with Dr. Charnel as well. We've had you on, Heidi.
Yes, I love your. Yes.
Yeah, those are
She's
dope,
so
man.
lovely. I love her.
Just we have loads of guests on. I mean, we had David Icke on last November.
Nice.
So cool. That was such a great one.
Yeah, we have all the people on. I mean, Aaron and Tyler. To those that are going to the conference as well, I'd love to connect with people. I'm actually going over to Grafton, Illinois, to the Journey to Truth conference in May.
Yeah, buddy.
So anybody that's going to be there, I'd love to meet you face to face, and you know, and yeah. But also check out the shows with Dr. Charnel. I'll do those as well. But yeah, with the new band. Apparently, I've been told because they're with Frontiers. The label Frontiers Records. I don't know who they are. They have lots of top bands on. I mean, Toto have been on it, and Yes, and other
Toto.
Toto,
Oh,
yeah, big Toto fan here, by the way.
Yeah, me too. My dog was named Toto.
Really?
Toto, yeah. Growing up.
But yeah, so they've asked that they want a new album by June. So
Cool.
we'll see what we can do before June. So yeah, we're on with that as well. So there is new material coming as well. So
That's
I'll be sharing it.
fantastic.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. Well, I'm going to be busy and adding a bunch of links down here. Yeah, Africa by Toto. I love it. That's beautiful. The chat is still so active. I want to make sure I answer everybody. Okay, but there you go. Thank you again, folks, for tuning in the chat. Craig and Matthew, thank you so much. I think I would love to try to do this again too with you all.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Maybe we can even get a big old panel.
Yeah, like next time I'll if maybe I will try it out, do a trial run, see if I can perform one of my songs on your show. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
What's that?
Do you have it in you now, or is that too much pressure?
Well, it's not that it's too much pressure. It's just I don't really have anything prepared and ready right now to do live. But like if you want to like hit me up in like a month or something like that, or like 2 weeks, like kind of give me a bit of time to practice the song and stuff, I would love to do that.
Beautiful. I would absolutely love that. I would be honored to host you. To
I got my drum kit set up and I'll play for you as well.
Nice. Hey, that'd be pretty cool if you could. I've what I've done before with like even just my friends like online. Like I have some friends that will like do Zoom calls and stuff, and we try to like freestyle the same song, and it's really difficult because like you kind of have to play it at the same time, or like the one person will play it on his end, but like when he hears you, it doesn't sound like you'll be rapping, and then you're not actually hitting the pockets the same as you would if it was like you were playing it yourself,
That's so hard. Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
but
hard.
I'm down to try some stuff for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Well, I
Yeah,
think it went where it needed to go. And
yeah,
those that tuned in, I appreciate you being here. Those who catch up with again later, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.
yeah.
Synaptic Circle will be back again. We have the next few weeks lined up, and I will announce those shortly. And again, thank you. Thank you all for your patience with my throat. I'm just grateful that you signed on to do this with
Yeah,
me.
no, you sounded great. No
Yeah,
problem.
you sound awesome.
Is it still Barry White, Craig? Do I have
Oh,
a
Barry
new?
White. I know you're doing okay. It's okay. Not quite Barry White.
That's awesome.
Awesome. And I'll say goodbye to you all in a second. Thank you again to everyone in the chat. Please share with your friends and have the most beautiful one. Be your best
See
self.
ya.